Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you to the first world premiere of the Book of Shadows, Winter Eternal. We would like to thank you all for attending tonight and openly degrade all those who had more important things to attend to. However, for the time being, we shall refrain from the latter. For those of you who have not spent every waking hour of the past week preparing for tonight's showing, we would like to summarize the origins and plot of the Book of Shadows series. To ensure full enjoyment, this summary will be accompanied by masterfully edited clips of our acne-ridden, pubescent, disgusting youth. The Book of Shadows series was first conceived while Jordan Spencer Cunningham and Russ Klavacek were on a routine visit to the West Jordan Library, found not too far from this facility. While utilizing the many wondrous resources found inside, a slightly scruffy-looking man, equipped with a backpack and coat, wandered inside. As he passed by the computers where Jordan and Russ were innocently going about their business, chants of, "I need to find my Book of Shadows," and other associated things could be heard. Unsurprisingly, this arbitrary phrase, uttered by what appeared to be a contemporary hobo, was filtered through young minds and consequently gave rise to the sort of thing that you are attending tonight. The first episode of the ensuing series was christened The Book of Shadows. It detailed such meaningless events as Hobo waking up on a park bench, journeying 2 or so blocks, barging into an unnamed person's house, and finding, quite coincidentally, the Book of Shadows stashed away in a microwave. After an incredibly brief story read by Hobo himself, directly from the pages of the newly discovered book, Hobo expresses his thanks and leaves, ending the first chapter in what is now a 6-part series. After much creative deliberation, Russ and Jordan took the rudimentary ideas that were so artfully portrayed in the Book of Shadows and developed them into a somewhat purer form. This work was titled Hobos Discovery. In this sequel, set mere moments after Hobo leaves the stranger's home, it is discovered that the book he found is not, in fact, the Book of Shadows. After expressing a deep distaste for dandelions, eventually finds the true Book of Shadows, and then proceeds to steal a bike and ride it joyfully from the park as time marches on. The third installment of the Book of Shadows was titled The Return of the Lord of Shadows. Well, almost. At this point in the series, what had once been a story about Hobo alone had developed into something with the beginning of a plot. Hobo, rather than being one of a kind in his wonder for the power of the Book of Shadows, is part of an interstellar union of hobos, urchins, and vagabonds. The Lord of Shadows is the figurehead of this interstellar union. Rather than a stranger's home which exists to be barged into, the location of the pseudo-Book of Shadows becomes the Chamber of the Shadow. Essentially, the mythology found in the Book of Shadows series grew exponentially during and after the 3rd episode. Its plotline described the actions of Hobo as he received instructions to resurrect the Lord of Shadows, who had previously been dethroned by yet unknown forces. This takes place in the Chamber of the Shadow and subsequently the West Jordan City Park, as Hobo attempts to fulfill the duties assigned him by the Lord of Shadows. In the end, as implied by the title, Hobo fails. The Lord of Shadows is returned to the earthly realm as a microwave, yes, a microwave, and the film concludes. The 4th episode was the first chapter in the series to truly expound upon a meaningful, mostly premeditated plot. Episode 4, as it was so creatively titled, covers the ever-so-awkward events that Hobo endures as he follows the Lord of Shadows' commands by recruiting associate hobos, stealing a new throne, and fending off dangerous fugitives at Deseret Industries. The episode comes to a climax when the Lord of Shadows reveals to Hobo that he will soon begin affiliation with the cannibals of the universe, something that is in violation of the near-sacred Hobos policy, a sort of 10 Commandments for hobos. Consequently, there is a long and arduous war between hobos and cannibals, including the life forms from all times and walks of life. Near the end of this bloody conflict, Hobo and the Lord of Shadows encounter one another and engage in a battle of epic proportions. Using swords made by the best of hobo kind, they parry one another's blows until Hobo is able to force the Lord of Shadows down and achieve a fatal blow against him, ending his cannibalistic reign. The penultimate episode, The Zealot, starts off not long after the death of the Lord of Shadows. After Hobo awakens to the roars of an indifferent garbage truck and recovers from severe trauma as a result, he makes his way to the Council of Shadows, where the members work to decide upon a new Lord of Shadows. Here, the Zealot, who was later revealed to be the former second-in-command of the Wandering Star, puts his name forth for for the post of Lord of Shadows. As Hobo reviews the proceedings, he realizes that the other nominee for this post, the Gnome of Happiness, looks suspiciously like the previous Lord of Shadows, healed through the shadow spells after Hobo had stabbed him. Since then, the Lord of Shadows ended all of his dealings with cannibals and became a reformed force for good. He explains that the Zealot, left in temporary command of all forces of the Wandering Star, has likely been altering things for the worse. In fact, says the Lord of Shadows, it was the Zealot, as his prime advisor, who first uttered the word cannibal to him, which in turn ended up causing the Great Shadow War. Hobo then agrees to join the Lord of Shadows in his campaign to become the Lord of Shadows once more. Later, the Zealot attempts to capture the two with his capture brigade, fails, and orders the capture captain to put his full efforts towards their capture. After helping the Lord of Shadows campaign and another encounter with members of the capture brigade, the Lord of Shadows, to Hobo's delight, decides to train him as a shadow sorcerer. Hobo and his newfound mentor then resume their journey to Mass at the library, only to encounter two of Hobo's previous recruits, Agent 4X2D and FS13. These recruits join the Lord of Shadows campaign. After the four heroes leave Mass, they are once again confronted by the terror of the capture brigade, who successfully capture the Lord of Shadows. He is taken to the Zealot, who declares that he will use puppet extract to control him in light of killing him, which would make him more powerful. In a last-ditch attempt, the Lord of Shadows conjures a shadow death caplet from air and kills himself. From his spirit state, he uses the Chamber of the Shadow to tell a mourning Hobo that he can be reincarnated once more, as any object from the chamber. Our heroes begin the process to reincarnate him in the form of a small turtle. In the meantime, the Zealot controls the Lord of Shadows' body in order to have him forfeit the campaign. Thus, the Zealot becomes the Lord of Shadows and begins wreaking havoc on West Jordan. Once the Lord of Shadows returns in his turtle form, Father Rupert comes to assist the group in their struggle against the Zealot. The Lord of Shadows informs everyone that the Zealot plans to use puppet extract in soup kitchens around the globe, thus causing Hobos who attend to be his loyal minions. The Lord of Shadows also begins training Hobo as a shadow sorcerer. Several weeks later, Hobo is nearing completion of his training, and celebrates by going to a soup kitchen, having forgotten about the puppet extract the soup contains. He returns home and Father Rupert brings good news. He has located a book at the library which tells of relics that can be used in order to defeat the Zealot. Unfortunately, immediately after obtaining the book and returning home, Father Rupert is devoured by a bush controlled by the capture brigade, and the capture captain is able to steal the book from Hobo. While Hobo was able to obtain information concerning the incredibly sharp and shiny object of shadows and a key, both necessary for the Zealot's defeat, he had not yet completed his understanding of the West Jordan superweapon. Despite his ignorance, all of the information is now in the Zealot's hands, and as the group begins searching for the relics, so is he. Hobo, FS13, and 4X2D find the incredibly sharp and shiny object of shadows before the Zealot. However, it is heard on the Shadow Network that he will activate the soup in 1 hour. Hobo remembers that he ate the soup and goes to get it removed, which is done quite successfully. Returning home, Hobo encounters Jeffy Jack, a confirmation of the soup's activation. The creature then speaks to Hobo, saying that the Zealot stole something from her. Upon his arrival in her lair, she continues to tell Hobo that the Zealot stole the second relic, a key. This key turns on the West Jordan superweapon. The creature also says that, while in her presence, the Zealot gloated about his plan to rip West Jordan from the ground and activate the superweapon to destroy first the planet Cameroon, and then the Wandering Star, which is the Hobo homeworld. Suddenly, West Jordan is ripped from the ground by the Zealot, causing tremors throughout the city. The capture captain has second thoughts about the plan in general as it happens, and the Zealot reveals to him that he will now destroy Cameroon. Back home, Hobo, the Lord of Shadows, FS13, and 4X2D gather on the roof of the Chamber of Shadows as chaos fills the night. An eerie blue glow fills the air as the superweapon ignites and destroys Cameroon. The Zealot's reign begins. Before commencing, we would like to inform you all that some key scenes, such as Hobo's battle with the Zealot, were never actually filmed. Thus we have provided beautifully lame text descriptions to tell you in a nutshell just what was supposed to happen during those unfilmed scenes. We would also like to announce that this film has been over 3 years in the making. filmed with 4 different cameras of varying quality and many alterations to the original script. And now, for our feature presentation. For the sake of plot, we would like to point out that Winter Eternal begins with an alternate perspective of what happened as West Jordan was ripped from the ground by the Zealot. Before we begin this evening, we would like to issue a round of applause to the wonderful city of West Jordan, both for existing and providing us with a location and for making the magnificent facilities of the Sugar Factory Playhouse available for tonight's events.
Yay! Yay! Yay!
So Cameroon is gone? Destroyed? Kaboom?
If we're assuming right, pieces of Cameroon are flying to the place where West Jordan used to be. And if they strike,
Then a shadow split will occur.
And next the Zealot plans to destroy the Wandering Star.
And the Zealot will become the Lord of Shadows for all eternity.
so basically all the hobos have eaten the soup, and we have no help here.
Little or none, yes, but Agent 4X2D called the hierarchy for backup, if you remember.
They said someone was on the way.
But there's still hope. Right? What do we do, Lord of Shadows? The Zealot has West Jordan in the palm of his hand.
At the moment, Hobo, I don't...
What in Shadow's name was that?
Reinforcements!
It's a recycle bin. They're quite comfy, but...
Shh! They had to send him secretly now that the Zealot has control.
Hello, I'm Secret Agent DX21. The hierarchy sent me to protect you and to tell you that more are on their way.
More what? People like you?
I do not have the level of security clearance to know.
When are they coming?
I don't know.
Well, now what?
You can start by getting me out of this oddly shaped package.
It has been 1 day since the great quake when West Jordan was raised from the ground. I have seen and heard much, using the shadow power, but I have said nothing and done nothing, as I was advised to. My colleague, Father Rupert, is dead. He went in search of Hobo. He disguised himself as a woman to escape capture, but after discarding this disguise, he was killed by a bush controlled by the capture brigade. I, Father Ferdinand, the only Shadow Hagiocracy priest left in West Jordan, am awaiting orders from the Shadow Hierarchy. Now that the Zealot has shown his intentions, the Hierarchy is finally acting. They are sending a band of secret agents to aid in the quest against the Zealot. I go now to join Hobo and his friends. As we speak, a massive piece of what was the planet Cameroon is rocketing towards Earth. Our main priority is to destroy that piece.
What, so we're just gonna hop up there into space and hack it to bits with a pickaxe?
No, Hobo. We need to get someone down into the crater where West Jordan was and use the same weapon that the Zealot used to destroy Cameroon.
Even with more reinforcements that the hierarchy is sending, compared to the capture brigade, we will be nothing. How do we plan to infiltrate the Hobo Heaven?
I can see that nobody has been thinking here except for me.
What?
Exactly. Alright, what we do is when the second group of secret agents is deployed here, we sneak into the Zealot's lair and destroy the remote soup initiator.
But I thought you said we didn't know where the Zealot is. Oh, unless you've already figured that out.
That's one thing that I don't know yet, but I'm hoping that when the other agents come, some inside information will come with them.
That could be the case. However, till the others come, I suggest we lie low.
Did you hear that? They said it's going to snow. The capture brigade is afraid of snow. It's perfect. We can escape now. It's our cover to escape. We need to wait until the snow stops. Then we leave. All right. All right.
It is I, Father Ferdinand, former partner of Father Rupert.
Father Rupert. You knew him well then?
Very well.
I'm sorry. I truly am. But what brings you here at such a time?
The hierarchy sent me. I'm here to assist you whenever you need assistance. Look!
What? I thought we were the last left.
Father Ferdinand, are there any other hobos who have not eaten the soup?
Not to my knowledge, no. You are looking well, Lord of Shadows.
Thanks. Soon enough, though, I'll have my old body back.
It's really coming down now.
What's coming down?
The snow. It was just barely starting when I came to the door.
Now what could cause a snow in July?
What? You're the capture captain.
Now! Well, you see, my lord, the capture captain is missing also.